Whether you are watching live or archived, we need your help to keep fun going. You can subscribe to First Updates now on Twitch, give bits, or make a donation. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description on how you can help fun.
Next up, we're going to talk about First Global. First Global is just around the corner, taking place August 16th to 18th in Mexico City. First Global is a bit of an interesting organization, and if you are not too familiar or are confused on First Global, you would not be alone. First Global is a completely separate organization from First in Manchester, and really, other than the name and triangle, circle, square logo, and the fact that it has robots and Dean Kamen, it would look like any other robotics organization out there. But we do want to take a few minutes to talk First Global. And Lino, we know that you're excited to see this event come to Mexico. What should the rest of us be excited to see? What should the rest of us be excited about to see First Global happen, and what can you preview for us?
Yeah, so I'm not sure about how many of you guys are familiar with First Global or how it works. So I'm just going to literally go as if it was your first time hearing it. Right. So basically, First Global is a completely different challenge. Usually, as an FTC or an FRC team, you have like the complete freedom to fully machine your robot. You have a big list of models to choose from. You basically have a lot of freedom. You have 3D printing, sheet metals, a lot of ways. First Global, it's way more limited. It's a great opportunity to actually manage your resources. Basically, every team from each country gets a kit of parts. This kit of parts is mostly Rev Robotics parts, and that's your parts to make your robot. You cannot add polycarbonate. You cannot add more pieces. It's just what you have there. Like, if you read the game manual, there's even like maximum amount of screws you can use on your robot, and you cannot pass from that amount.
Somebody has to sit there and count them?
That's actually a big question. You have to be an
inspector for that?
There's two types of inspectors, like in FTC, I think, the software inspector and the robot inspector. I guess the robot inspector will be asking around how many screws does your robot have. So that's going to be really interesting how inspection goes. But First Global has been a great experience, something real different. I actually have gotten to talk to many teams from Israel, from Mexico, from Venezuela, and it basically has given them a whole new opportunity to represent their countries, giving them the limited parts. It works like the economic power doesn't play an important role in robot design. What really matters is how they manage to solve the challenge. They have to be really smart using their resources, and they might have to sacrifice things. Like, one of the cool things about First Global is from the robots I'm seeing, there has been a lot of variety. I've seen like forklifts. I've seen robots like the FTC intakes that were teams using at championships. I've seen some retractable crazy robots that just like boom, drop all their things like on Recycle Rush style. So like there's a lot of variety. And that's pretty cool because even though everyone has the same pieces, everyone's coming up with different solutions. And well, I'm pretty sure that every team's going to do great to represent their country. Another great thing that I like about First Global is the stars behind it. I'm just going to give a shout out right now to Team Venezuela because they've had a lot of struggles to come here to Mexico. And they've been making a big buzz on the media of their country and even in Mexico of their story. And I'm really excited to actually see them compete. I don't know if anyone has a question.
Yeah, I just want to ask you. So one of the issues with First Championships this year is that there are some travel bans, so to speak, or difficulties for certain areas to get visas to come into the States. Is that the case in Mexico at all? Are there any potential issues with any of the First Global teams coming in?
I know that teams have been planning their trips for a long time. I know this by the simple fact, like I got added into like a WhatsApp group with many teams all over the world. So most of them have their travel issues solved by now. There may be one, but it's kind of like really rare. I'm pretty sure every team will be able to make it here. They've been working so hard since last First Global to make sure that no team has complications. Travel-wise to Mexico, it's not that hard to get into the country, I guess. It's Mexico.
So I'm not sure anybody else has any questions. One other thing I guess I had for you is that when we were showing the game just a little bit ago for this year, you essentially looked a lot like FTC. You essentially have these boxes that you were putting into areas. What is the field any different? Like the field size looked much bigger.
it's basically FTC XL. So you're just
Okay.
gonna see like a bigger size field, but it's basically FTC robots just got into a bigger field. Just think about it like if an FTC robot was on an FRC field. But I can assure you that the event is looking to have some great production, and you may be seeing me around as a volunteer over
Yeah.
there on the live stream. We'll see how that goes.
That'd be
And
great, man.
yeah. So
We did
we
have a
do have a
question in
question from
chat.
chat.
Yeah, go ahead, PJ.
We do have a question from chat from Backup Boy. He says, just out of curiosity, how are the people or the teams that represent each country chosen? I know it's different for every country, right? Because I know they talked about it a little bit on, what was that, Candidly Speaking last week?
This is really exciting for Mexico every year because, like, I don't know how it's in the United States. I know that Wizards.ex is representing for United States, and I think 2056, some members of 2056 are doing for Canada. Yeah, I know. But like for Mexico, it was really interesting because like last year, when First Global happened, everyone was like, "Whoa, what's this? I want to do it next year. How do I represent Mexico?" So like, first in Mexico had to do a whole process to select the teams. So how did they go? They basically invited the alliance captain winners of the Mexico regionals. So it was 46-35 the Botbusters. It was also 34-78 the Lambots. And then they also invited the Chairman Awards winners, which were 40-10 Nautilus. And if I'm not corrected, I forgot their number, but it's Team Aurus. They won engineering inspiration at Houston Championships. Maybe you guys know them. And the other two teams that they were invited were the FTC teams, which won in the national, the FTC as Alliance captain, or as the Inspire winner. They invited those 6 teams. And with the sponsor of Fundación Azteca, and with help of First Mexico, they basically invited them all to Mexico City. They went there, and they put them a challenge. They gave them a kit of parts of red and told them, your team has to compete on this FTC field and do the following tasks. It was a really exciting game to watch because you had many game pieces from FTC throughout the years. Like I know we had like the little donuts, and then we had also like the cubes from this year from Relic Recovery. So it was a fun competition to watch, and it was a lot about whoever won got to represent First Global. Sure. Also, another interesting thing from Team Mexico is that Team Mexico actually is represented by 2 teams. So like first and second place get to represent, which they were the team from FTC, the Bodregos. I forgot their team number. I think it's 9351 and 4010 Nautilus are representing for Mexico. But here's the thing, they're from different parts of the country. So thanks to sponsors and travels, they've been able to travel together, work together on their robot. They've been able to communicate. So it's gotten to a great way to form a competition and community in Mexico.
That's awesome. Hey, to just kind of wrap it up here. So I heard you say 2056 for a second there. So if I was a betting man, that's kind of where my chips would be going. But is there kind of a favorite team to win First Global, or if somebody were to watch it, who would they want to really keep an eye out for to be kind of the favorite? And then where can they watch this actually in just a little bit?
Well, for me personally, I like a lot Team Israel Robot. I don't have footage of it. Like they told me to not show it yet. So, sure. But it's looking good. Like it's a fast robot. It's kind of like what I will have gone for. I have no idea what 2056 is doing. I know Team USA is looking good, and I'm just excited for them. But watch out for, you never know, maybe Team Venezuela ends up like winning. They have a great robot. There's so many different variety of robots, so it all depends on who's gonna bring the best strategy now.
I love Emma Man says 2056 might finally get that champs win.
Oh yeah.
Who won? What country won last year? Because last year was the first one, right? Does anyone know?
So I'm actually not sure how it worked, but I know of something. I've heard that it's kind of different from FRC. I'm gonna explain you guys a little bit how it works.
Right.
It's basically they put quals matches just like championship. I know there's gonna be different, I think like 4 fields, so like divisions, and the teams are basically going to play, and the way you accumulate points, it's kind of like Recycle Rush. Just spoiler alert. The teams have
so excited all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now nobody's gonna watch First Global.
So like depending on how many points you accumulate, they're kind of like the points you get some per match. And at the end of the leaderboard, depending if you are top 24, you advance to the next stage. And depending who ranks on that next matches first, second, and third, that's how they give the medals this year,
Sure.
if I'm correct. That's for the last thing I read. Now, last year I think they gave more medals to more teams. I don't know how they were selected. That will be something I have to figure out, investigate. But yeah, it's more of a event. So the science and engineer gets touched in parts of the world which doesn't usually get touched. So that's what I enjoy a lot about First Global. And then like you can see the energy, the hype of the kids, that they're so excited to actually compete. They're competing for their nation. So yeah, it's going to be a great event. You guys should really see the opening ceremony, some matches in the closing ceremony. And there's going to be, yeah.
So Leon, we got to move on, but where can they watch First Global?
Yeah.
Where can it be watched at?
Oh, it's probably going to be on Twitch. I'll try to find, I don't know if it's going to be on the first stream or where.
Well, hey, I don't think it's going to be on the first Inspire stream. So I just want to say, like, I don't know if you guys, but like I've talked to some people from Manchester headquarters. I'm like, hey, tell me about First Global. And I'm like, what? like we know about as much as you do. So it's
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.